when Moses sent out the 12 spies to look at the new land. And 10 of them came back with a bad report. 10 of them came back saying that, yeah, it's a great land, but the people that are in the land are stronger than we are. The people that are housing the land is so much greater. And after they heard that, that's when the people got upset and cried and did what they normally do. Moses, why did you bring us out here to get killed? We should have stayed in Egypt. And not only that, they were now going after Moses and Aaron. Aaron and Moses got so upset that they started praying, and that's when Joshua and the other one, went and tore their clothes. This is not part of this. Is another. You go back to just the mount. Yeah, go back to where you were. Tore their clothes off and said, "Look, if the Lord has blessed us already, that land is filled with milk and honey, just like the Lord said. He will deliver us." But if you remember, the Lord got so upset with the people, he told Moses that, Moses, I'm going to kill them all. I'm done with them. They have rebelled. They have wronged me for the wrong time, for the last time. So I'm going to kill them all, and I'm going to raise up another great nation out of you. This is when Moses went and prayed to the Lord and said, Lord, now you know the people in Egypt and everybody is looking at what you did for the children of Israel. And if you kill them, the first thing they're going to say, the Lord was strong enough to deliver the children out of it, to deliver the children into the promised land like he promised. Kill them. So the Lord agreed and told Moses, yes, I will save them. But this is what I'm going to do. Everybody that was counted in that census, 20 years or older, that rebelled against me, would not see the promised land. For 40 years, for every one that grown, for every day that the spies were over in the new land, a year or two. So for 40 years, they're going to suffer. For 40 years, they're going to feel my wrath. And everybody 19 and under is ones that will see the promised land. So when we look at that census tax, that number was counted as a great number, because you're looking at 603,000 possible people that was grumbling against the Lord. That was grumbling against the Lord. And when I think about that, we have to be careful as adults. We have to be careful as men and women about our grumblings. Because our grumblings, when we think we're just letting our voice be heard, we're just letting our gripes be known, it might be affecting the people that's coming up under us. It might be affecting some people in our families. In other words, they can't get their blessing. I should have said this way, but I'm going to say it now. You can beat me later. Until our old nagging selves are in our grave. They can't get their blessing until we dead and gone. Because we keeping up so much mess while we here. And so we got to be careful of that. But let us dig a little bit further, because this tax, it wasn't an annual tax, but it was required whenever a census was conducted to count the number of eligible men for military service or other purposes. So they had 603,000 men for military service. They had 603,000 men that should be able to be put to work. Sad to say, we know when Abraham asked the Lord if there's just 1 or 2 men. We're back to that point now. If we could just find 1 or 2, 3, 4 good men to help in the community, to help in the church, just to help, it will make the world be a better place, and it'll be a whole lot easier to raise more men into society. But as we see, it is what it is. So when he had that a half shekel, so I asked myself this too, Sister Britt, how much is a half shekel? I asked myself that, how much is a half shekel? I mean, the Lord is asking each person to do it, both rich and poor. The rich can pay no more, the poor can pay no less. So how much is a half shekel? Well, if we look right here, next slide. Next. Each person was required to give a half shekel for their contribution. In the Bible, the half shekel was typically made of silver. The exact weight and purity of a biblical shekel varied, but it often estimated to be around 11 grams of silver. So we're going to use 11 grams of silver to figure out how much this half shekel is. So to get the approximate value of the half shekel in today's money, you would need to consider the current price of the silver. And as of last Wednesday, when I wrote all of this out and put it all in PowerPoint, the price of silver as of last Wednesday was $23 per ounce. So silver at $23 per ounce, 11 grams of silver is approximately 0.35 ounces. So at the price of $23 per ounce, you'll get an approximate range of $8.05 for a biblical half shekel. So each person at that time had to pay $8.05. To us, really, now watch this. I'm saying $8.05. Does that really sound like a lot of money for each person? $8.05 really does. It is if you're right. And you have to think about it during that time. That is a lot. You know, it's like Sister Diane said, for somebody that ain't got it, there's a lot. For somebody that got it, that don't seem that much. But watch this. It doesn't seem that much until somebody asks for it. Okay. That's a point. It doesn't seem that much until somebody asks for it. And to somebody asks for it, it don't seem that much. Oh, that ain't that much money, but let the church ask for $8. Whew.
Making you $10 bill.
Yeah. I better get that churches ask for the 10. You know, like this is that we ain't got for you got to break it. But we ask for $8, then what? Sometimes when we go around that collection plate, we'll ask for change for $2 is $1.95. They gonna ask for that change. So it wasn't that he was taxing them each and every time. This was a one-time offering that he was asking in the county. And we can look at how much is $8.05 worth then as now. I didn't do that. I thought I did in that slide, but I didn't. So probably then, now, inflation and all of that, it's probably about $40, $50 now, 67, maybe 100, probably more than that. Don't hold me to it. I'll have to look and do the math and see. But it was a one-time thing, one-time thing. And what he told them is this right here, because just like Sister Diane stated, some people, that don't seem like that much, so they want to give more to make it seem like they're better than others. Other people that don't have it really want to give it, but ain't got it to give. So they may try to give less. We see, watch that, and I'm kind of getting here. We see that today. People will sit there, and I know if you've been to not so much district conference, but annual conference, you will see it planning meetings and all of that. Anywhere where there's big people at and the bishop is there, they're gonna have somebody want to give more, and they're gonna have their check in their hand and have it all like this. Am I right? Because they want everybody to know they got it. But you send an email to them about your church needs some of these crickets. So you have to be careful of why you're doing it. And when we look at this, God was telling them one significant aspect of this census was everyone, regardless of their social or economic status, were required to give the same amount of half shekel. This practice emphasized the idea that all Israelites were equal in the eye of God and contributed equally to the needs of the tabernacle. And just that right there, just that little part right there, all the Israelites were equal in the eye of God. Now, let's go back and look at this, then I'll talk for use of funds. Let's just look at this. They weren't too long ago, every last one of them, all 603,000 that was counted were slaves. Didn't have nothing. Was nothing. Was considered nothing. And truth be told, was about nothing. 603,000. The Lord delivered them, and now because some of them in the land of milk, as they've been traveling, plundered a little bit more, was able to do a little bit more, got a little bit more than somebody else. Now they think they're better than somebody. And the Lord is showing them you're no better than the next person, because you just came from the same place the last person came from. The only difference is it was a little bit more favor on you than it was on this person. You made a couple of right decisions, and they made a couple of wrong at this time. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to bless them the same amount I'm going to bless you. And that is, I think, something we struggle with as a race. All of us ancestors have struggled, came from slavery, been beat, weren't able to eat at the same lunch counters as others, couldn't drink from the same water fountain, couldn't ride in the front of the bus, had to walk, had to do all of this, been lynched, and we probably have rolled by some trees that are here in Jackson County that some of our ancestors hung from. And we have the audacity to think we're better than somebody else. And because of it, we're constantly fighting, trying to keep other people down so we can keep what we have. And not realize that at the end of the day, we're all filthy rags in God's eyesight. Keep in mind that the Lord is going to deal with us according to our stewardship. So he's telling them right here, I don't care what you have. I want you to do this right here. And sometimes we have a problem sometimes, I think, with just plain not following instructions. We just have a problem with following instructions. So the Lord is telling them everyone is equal. But what are the use of the phones? Because you know how us is. If we're going to give it to you, I want to know what it's going to be used for. Because this is something different. This is just a one-time tax. So Sister Linda, do the math for me. Do 603,000 times $8.05. Oh, I got you doing too much. You need to do it. I got you doing about 15,000 things right there.
3,450.
I know.
Hold on.
And I know I can just easily pull up my calculator.
Okay, say that again.
I got it.
I got it now.
I was gonna tell you 603,000 times $8.05. $4,854.50. I'm sorry, no. $4,854,150. So what is that money gonna be used for? Okay, what is it gonna be used for? The use of it was there was to be for service and maintenance of the tabernacle, which was the central place of worship, and sacrifice for the Israelites during their wilderness journey. They're going to be in the wilderness for 40 years. Something has to pay for that upkeep. something had to be done to replenish and replace the furnishing, because remember, what God is built here is the best of the best. Gold, the linen, everything that is there is of value. And watch this, when we have something of value, we want to make sure we do everything to protect it. We should. We should, as much as we fuss, as much as we cry about it, when the car breaks down, we got to just cough up the money to fix it. I mean, Lord knows, I don't know yet, but I know I'm going to cry all the way there and all the way back, and probably a couple more days when I got to replace some tires on that truck. In fact, I probably need to start crying now. But guess what?
Got to be done.
It's got to be done.
No, you got a choice.
Yeah,
You always have a choice.
I always got a
You can
choice.
do that.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I do. But with stuff of great value comes great responsibility. And the more, the higher the value, the higher the maintenance. So this money was used for that purpose. And watch this. I was watching I was watching some on Facebook today. A lady, gal was getting ready to go on the first date, so he opened up the door for her and let her in the car and had the camera rolling, and he went down. The first thing she said, "Ooh, ain't gonna be an awesome." Kind of looking around in there, so she said, "So where we going?" He said, "Well, you seen that? Where we going?" "Well, I'm thinking about dinner in the movie." She said, "Okay, so where we gonna go eat at?" He said, "I think he said Olive Garden." She said, He said, Applebee's. He said, Cracker Barrel. He said, Starbucks and all of that. She said, ain't that the place you go on the first date. He said, well, where? She said, I was thinking about Ruth's Chris or somewhere else. So he got out, walked around, opened up the door,
And let her go.
and told her to leave, right? We value ourselves, but we don't value others. Lord is saying everybody, regardless, is equal. We place a lot of value. Some people, they just women. There are some men that are high maintenance. There are some men I know right now. I can't call them names. It's a little probably last when I say this. If you call them right now and say there's a problem, you might be dead before they get there. Because they got to get their hair, they got to do their hair. They got to iron their clothes. They got to shine their shoes. Then they're on their way. Family waiting on them, and everybody dead. He just getting out the shower. I'm sorry. So you do have men and women that are high maintenance, but don't allow your high maintenance to deter the value of somebody else. Lord is just saying everybody is equal. But not only that, all of this was for the upkeep of the sanctuary, the upkeep of the God's house. And we got to realize that sometimes we got to make sacrifices to help upkeep God's house. I mean, when you think about it, it didn't get worn out by itself. So we have to upkeep it. And when you look at the temple, the tent of meetings, every time they moved, it moved. So you know that's going to be wear and tear itself. So that's what it was. That's what the funds was used for. But when we look at it, what is this? What does this really mean for us today? What does that really mean? I mean, we do a census. There's a census every 10 years now? I think there's a census every 10, and we don't even count that. We don't even fill out that information. All right? And Lord knows if it was money attached behind it that we had to pay some, we barely want to do our taxes. Yet on the census tax. So what does that really mean for us today? What you know, sometimes that is another struggle. How does stuff during Israelites time, how does stuff in the Old Testament, how does all this stuff relate to us? Because we don't pay, no census tax. I mean, we barely want to pay the 7.5% tax, sales tax, gas tax. Barely want to pay the IRS, our taxes itself. And the only reason why some of us do it so fast is because we got to buy a new car that we're gonna keep till April. So we got some bills to pay. But what it did was so the census tax served as a reminder of the importance of supporting the religious and communal life of the Israelite covenant. It also symbolized the idea of atonement or redemption, as the tax was collected to make atonement. So at that time, for them, twofold: atonement, but not only atonement, it was there to help out the communal life itself. This is that I thought about this.
I'm ready.
It's so simple. It ain't that crazy. Man, I think me and Sister Diane sit down and think about crazy stuff. It ain't that crazy. Where would we be if the way we present our offering was tied to our atonement of the sins we made? We do.
We'd be willing to come up a whole lot more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have no problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially those of us that have done a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm. We'll probably be even more broken than we were. So this was to make an atonement but watch this, was selected to make atonement not for just one person, for the people. Now, let's go a little bit further. What if the church's budget was based on the sins of the people in the church?
Don't even look at me. I ain't gonna say it.
It will be some fighting. I'm gonna say it going on. All right, because one thing about it, all right, people want to know where their money's going. Right? I feel, this is me. I feel the two things that break up an organization the fastest is dealing with money and dealing with a not by nature song of other people's property. The two things that break up organizations fast is money and dealing with other people's property. Two things. Now, disagreements and all of that divides organizations. And let's just talk about the church. If the people are disagreeing with the pastor and all of that, it doesn't break the church, it divides the church. It's a difference. But take these folks' money. You see churches that have the pastor sleeping with the deacon's wife and the steward's wife and somebody in the back of the church too and somebody outside the church. It will destroy the church. Seen a thing where on Facebook again. I had to stop Facebook. The mistress came in the church while the pastor was up there preaching. See, that's what you say on Facebook too.
I can't tell no story. I saw it. It wasn't on Facebook.
You didn't say no question.
It was on YouTube.
It was on YouTube. Yeah. It was, the Facebook was tied to YouTube.
Yeah.
And then she had to cure these folks.
She sure did.
It didn't divide the church. It destroyed the church. Stuff like that destroys the church. So you get so when you think about that now, same thing was probably happening in the times of the Israelites, and God made them pay a tax to make atonement for the people. So you imagine, like I said, we already fuss and complaining right about the budget, or as we should start calling it now, the district obligation. We already, so imagine if that obligation were tied to the sins of people.
you're saying based upon individual accountability.
Yes,
I did one thing, but you done 4 things.
yeah. So we're paying for 5. Plus the 15 that somebody else did, the 20 that somebody else did. And you just here just trying to live right, and you ain't did but 1.5. If you had somebody else, right? So it was used to make an atonement for not only to help upkeep the church, but for the atonement of the people. And that's really a tough pill to swallow in today's time, when you have to pay for somebody else's transgressions. That's a tough pill to swallow, but watch this. To help you cough up that pill, some of our youth are paying for our past transgressions. Some people in our families are paying for past transgressions, and they're not paying with money, they're paying with their lives. So you have to be careful of your thoughts, you got to be careful of your words, you got to be just careful of your walk in today's time. But that's what it would go to the next slide, Sister Linda. I've lost myself up here. And so that verse says, the money is to be used for the upkeep of the sacred tent, and because of it, I will never forget my people. Well, let's throw that in there. Well, Lord, thank you for that. It's for the upkeep of the sacred tent. It's an atonement tax, so he'll never forget the people. How many people will the Lord forget when offering time comes? If offering time comes, if the Lord is in forgetting business, which we know thank God he's not. Well, let me rephrase that. Thank God for Jesus. Because Jesus is there to petition us on our behalf to the Father. So how many people will God forget based on our offering? Based on our time. Now, I'm going to go a little bit further. Based on our time, our talent, our efforts, and our finances. How many people will God forget because we forgot about him? So that's what it was for, but going a little step further. In modern times, because remember we asked this, in the context it symbolizes the idea of cleansing and purifying the people as they offered their contributions to the tabernacle. We're purifying. The song got to clean up what we messed up, start all over again. That's what they were doing. And one so much that God got to the point where they probably was killing all the animals. And that was just a once a year thing. So this was another way of atoning. It was another way of sacrificing. Every now and then, you got to be willing to make a sacrifice that is not in the norm. Sometimes you got to be willing to step out on faith and say, okay, this is what we're doing. This is what I'm going to believe in it, and I'm going to move forward in it. Sister Linda, where go? Keep going down. Yeah, no, go right there. So what does that mean for us? In modern times, the concept can remind us of the importance of community support and collective responsibility. We're living in a time to where we need community support. When you look at the 3 soldiers that got killed over by the drone, it amazed me. It didn't amaze me because I had a feeling. But I was listening to some conversations. When the pictures came out, how the narrative turned. When the pictures came out, how the narrative turned. Because when it first came out, people thought they were white soldiers. Assumed they were white soldiers. I assumed it was a 50-50 chance.
I assumed that they were not of color. I did.
But watch this. And the other assumption was they were all men.
I did that as well.
Mhm. Because white men know when they go into the military, it's a chance they're gonna die, so they're gonna die a hero.
As heroes.
Mhm. But now it's 3 blacks, 2 women, and 1 man. Mhm. Well, maybe that was all they had. You know, they look at their record. Maybe they had to go to the military. They didn't have no other choice. So do we really need to have our president go to war over them? Find how the narrative.
It's amazing. It's amazing how that.
Find how the narrative changes.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I bring that up to say that I'm not saying that I heard that today, but it's been said before. That's why we need community support. We need community prayer. Because that was somebody's daughter. That was somebody's auntie, cousin, sister, maybe mama. I don't even know, mama. Somebody's dad, that was somebody's family member. And RJ told us on the prayer line that them 3 that was killed was part of his cousin's unit, right in Georgia. So not that far from us. So it encourages us to contribute to a well-being of our communities through various means, such as charitable donations, volunteering, or participating in community projects. I went back and looked, and doing the website, I went and looked at our goals for the year. And we're trying to accomplish it. We're doing it slowly. But one of the things is community awareness, community outreach. And the thing is, and I think Sister Diane, you may have heard it in the district conference, when you start doing stuff in the community, people start noticing. So that's what we have to do. So in our lives, we can reflect on the idea that giving and supporting others can be a form of personal growth and spiritual fulfillment. We hadn't did it here in a while, and we're trying to get it back started. But that's Second Harvest. I don't know how y'all felt that day when we did Second Harvest, but it gave me a sense of accomplishment for me. Like we did something for the community, and especially when I canceled it the last time and got all these calls. When we did the voter registration drive, Sister Britt helped put together. To hear Sister Britt and Supervisor Election said we received more sign-ups today than we did at the college. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. And when we look at that temple tag, when we look at that stuff, that is what time is it? That's what we're looking at. It gives us a sense of accomplishment. So moving forward, we'll dig into this other one, 17 to 21, in our next Bible study when we get together. Looking at this temple tax, yes, it was something to help the upkeep of the church, to give atonement for their sins. But for us, it is a way to remind us about community giving, about community outreach, about trying to allow our light to shine. And as God's children, we have a taxation on us. And that tax is our time, our effort, and our talents and finances. So that is something that the Lord taxes us with. And the thing is, we ain't got to do it. But sooner or later, you ain't got to pay no taxes to the IRS. But sooner or later, Judgment Day is coming. You're going to get caught up. So it's the same thing. We were going to get, Judgment Day is coming. And we want to make sure at least our taxes, spiritual taxes, are paid up. With that being said, Sister Linda, you have to go on that link that I sent you. But go pull up the website real fast.
You want me to end this live?
Yes, you can end the live.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, people. No, thank everyone that was online. If, we got members on, the link I sent out a couple of weeks ago about the, official, the quarterly conference, that Zoom link is still the one that you'll click on. So get off the live, click on the Zoom link, and you'll see us again in about 5 minutes.